I left him after I got hot. Now I want him back and he won't even reply. Everything started with pride. Not confidence. Not joy. Not liberation. Just cold, hollow pride that bloomed after the compliments rolled in. When the weight dropped, the curves aligned, the lips plumped, and the attention shifted, everything changed. It changed. He didn't. He remained the same. Loving, loyal, grounded. But she had started glowing in her own mirror and basking in the spotlight of strangers. She was finally being seen. Desired. Wanted. So, without a word of real closure, she left him. He didn't scream, didn't beg, didn't even argue. Just stared at her with the kind of silence that suffocates louder than any shout. And now, she can't get a single reply from him. The regret didn't come immediately. Came slowly. First like a soft wind brushing through the cracks of her soul, then like a hurricane tearing her to pieces. And it wasn't just the absence, it was everything. Every laugh, every lazy morning kiss, every rough night where their bodies melted into each other, every fight that ended with silent apologies beneath bedsheets soaked in sweat and forgiveness. All gone. She tried texting first. A casual hey. No reply. Then, I miss you. Still nothing. Then desperate confessions poured like spilled wine. Shaky, raw, embarrassing. Silence. She sent a voice note, whispering through tears that she was sorry. Her chest heaved with every breath. Still no answer. Her heart began to twist into a knot. Hungary. That's where she saw him again, accidentally. In a hotel lobby. She was there for a fashion event. He was with someone. A girl. Pretty, simple, not overly made up. They were laughing. His hand rested casually on the girl's back, the same way he used to touch her when they were out in public. Possessively, protectively. She froze. She wanted to walk up to him and scream, cry, grab him, collapse at his feet. But she didn't. She just watched. Then followed. Yes, followed. She watched them check into a room. Her stomach knotted. Her legs refused to move. But her mind had already built 1,000 scenarios, each more brutal than the last. She booked a room on the same floor. That night, she sat in her room in silence, ear against the wall, hearing muffled laughter and sounds that pierced deeper than any knife could. It was like drowning slowly in a tub of boiling guilt. She couldn't sleep. She remembered their sex. How wild it had been. How he would whisper filthy, sweet things while making love to her. How he'd grip her hips like he owned every inch of her. How his sighs used to make her cry, moan, and beg for both mercy and more. All night. Every night. Until the sheets were ruined, the air was thick, and she couldn't walk right in the morning. It was more than just sex. It was connection. Fire. Raw emotion. He touched her like he knew every nerve. Now someone else was getting that. She cried all night. In the morning, she left a note under his door. Long one. No reply. No knock. Nothing. Just silence. That's when she broke. She returned home and spiraled. The walls felt too white. The air too cold. Her body, though beautiful, felt empty. Her bed felt enormous and cruel. The mirrors that once admired her now mocked her. She began to crave him like a drug. Every moment without him was pain. Not heartbreak, something deeper. Soul fracture. Then she discovered the hidden camera. It had always been there. One he'd installed for security purposes. But the files were never reviewed until now. Curiosity led her to click, and what she saw made her knees give out. It wasn't just a recording. It was truth. Clips of her, with someone else. Man. One of the strangers she flirted with during her glow-up phase. He had found it before she even left. He had watched her cheat and still kissed her every morning. The shock exploded inside her. She screamed, collapsed, vomited. Her hands shook as she dialed his number. Again, again, again. No reply. She got into her car and drove, not knowing where, just hoping to find him. She went to all the places they used to visit. The restaurant where they first kissed under a flickering candlelight. The beach house where she first cried his name while making love. Her nails raking his back until he bled and laughed and kissed her again. The bookstore where he used to read poetry softly into her ear, his voice making her thighs tremble. Still no sign. A week later she finally found him. At a charity gala. Alone. Dressed in a sharp black tux. Beard a little longer. Eyes a little colder. She walked up to him. His eyes scanned her, not with love but curiosity. Distant. Cold. "I want you back," she whispered. "I'm not yours to have any more," he replied and turned away. She felt her knees weaken. But she didn't stop. She followed him outside, tears running down her cheeks. Please talk to me. I made a mistake. I was stupid. Thought I deserved more. But I had everything. I just didn't see it." He turned. His eyes darkened. "You destroyed me," he said. "Do you know what it felt like to kiss you while knowing you were letting someone else touch what belonged to me?" A sob. She fell to her knees on the sidewalk. The cold stones bit into her skin. "I'm sorry," she choked out. "Take me. Punish me. Break me. Just don't walk away." He looked at her, silent, then said, "You want punishment." That night, she followed him to his place. The air was thick with tension. He didn't touch her at first. He let her beg, crawl, undress, cry. She trembled. And then he kissed her, hard like a storm. His hands were brutal, roaming over her body like they were seeking justice. Pain was raw. He gripped her hips again, harder than before. And when he entered her, it was with rage. She screamed, both from the pain and from the longing. It lasted all night. 6 times. Each round more punishing than the last. Each time her body gave in, collapsed, only to be picked back up and consumed again. She cried during, after, and between. Her thighs were bruised, her lips swollen, her body trembling. But still, she whispered his name like a prayer. Her legs spread willingly, painfully, for every ounce of his anger. She wanted it, deserved it. The last time her body gave up, he fainted. Blood. From the tearing. She woke up hours later, naked, sore, lips dry. He wasn't beside her. He wasn't in the apartment. A note sat on the table. That was goodbye. She screamed so loud the windows trembled. She cried until she couldn't breathe. Her chest felt like it was going to collapse. She was crushed, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. She had broken a man who once worshipped her. Now she was the dust beneath his feet. She wanted to die. But instead she decided to fight. That's when the motivation sparked. She couldn't let this be the end. There had to be more. She had to find the hidden thread, the unspoken truth. Because somewhere deep down she felt it. There was more behind his silence than just pain. There was something else. Something hidden. Trap. Twist. Camera still recording. And when she discovered it, nothing would ever be the same again. After waking up alone, sore and bleeding, she barely dragged herself into the shower. The water scalded her bruised thighs, washing away the scent of what they'd done. It didn't wash away the ache in her soul. That ache lingered, burned. Her reflection in the mirror showed a woman destroyed. She looked beautiful, yes, but hollow. Her eyes were lifeless. Her lips were trembling. And her body, though shaped like a fantasy, felt like a grave. That note haunted her. That was goodbye. 3 words that stabbed deeper than the roughest night they'd ever shared. But something inside her refused to accept that this was truly the end. Her instincts whispered that there was more. His eyes last night. Yes, they were cold but not dead. There was a storm inside him. A storm that hadn't passed yet. She knew him. Or at least she thought she did. Days passed. She didn't eat. She barely slept. Her fingers hovered over the call button every night. But she didn't dial again. He made it clear. And she had crossed every line. Until the footage surfaced. It was an email. Anonymous. No subject. Just a link. She hesitated, her fingers trembling. When she finally clicked it, what she saw almost knocked her breath out. It was a recording. Hidden footage from his apartment. The night she came back to him. Every word, every movement, every cry, every scream, every thrust recorded. She was humiliated. But that wasn't the twist. The footage wasn't just for revenge. It was for proof. Because halfway through the video the angle shifted. It zoomed in on a drawer she hadn't touched. A drawer she didn't even notice that night. The camera focused on the drawer being opened by him. And inside, photographs. Dozens of them. Of her. With the man she had cheated with. In the cafe. The hotel. Even the parking garage. She hadn't known someone was watching. But he did. He knew everything. Not after the breakup. Before it. He had waited. Smiled. Kissed her. Took her to bed. And then let her go quietly. Not because he was weak. But because he was already planning her downfall. This wasn't just about heartbreak. It was war. She fell to the floor, crying uncontrollably. The way he looked at her during their last night replayed in her mind. Not lust. Not love. Not hatred. Judgment. He wasn't trying to win her back. He was teaching her a lesson. A brutal one. He screamed. Threw things. Collapsed again. Everything hurt. Her heart. Her body. Her pride. Her ego. Her shame. But then she got up. No, this wouldn't be the end. She refused to be a deleted chapter in someone else's story. If he wanted to play games, she'd play better. She began digging. Through old messages, files, hard drives. Searching for every piece of the puzzle. And she found it slowly. Painfully. One recording at a time. Every single time she had lied. He had saved the moment. Screenshots, voice recordings, even tracking logs of her late-night locations. The man had built a digital case against her. And then she found his secret. One file. Named after a date. 2 weeks before she left him. She opened it. And everything shattered. It was footage of him. Crying. Not silently. Not stoically. But violently. His face red. His hands gripping the edge of their bed. Screaming her name into the pillows. Slamming his fists against the walls. Breaking his own mirror. Collapsing onto the floor, shirtless, covered in sweat and tears. He had loved her. And she had killed that love with a single lie. Her legs gave out. She curled up on the floor and sobbed for hours. She whispered apologies to no one. She wanted to crawl into the video and hold him. Beg him. Undo everything. But time is cruel. The next day, she found herself outside his building again. She didn't knock. She waited. When he finally stepped out, he paused. They stared at each other for minutes. "You saw it," he said softly. She nodded, lips quivering. "I didn't want revenge," he continued. "I wanted to understand why." "I don't know why," she whispered. "I was drunk on attention. I thought being wanted meant being valuable. I didn't realize what I had until it was bleeding." His eyes darkened. "And now I just want to feel your arms one more time before I completely collapse." He didn't move. Just stared. "Please," she begged. "Just one night. No cameras. No traps. No punishment. Just us." He nodded. That night was different. No words. Just breathing. Slow aching touches. His fingers traced every scar, every bruise, every memory. His lips kissed her like he was trying to remember and forget at the same time. When he finally entered her, it wasn't rough. It was slow. Emotional. She cried beneath him. Not from pain this time, but from everything they lost. And then he said it. "I still love you." Her heart cracked open. She whispered the words back. And then they made love again. 3 times. All night. Until the world outside didn't exist. Until her nails gripped his back again. Until her legs trembled uncontrollably. Until her mind shut down from exhaustion. Until she passed out again. This time not from pain, but from emotional collapse. When she woke up, he was holding her. And then he whispered the final twist. "There's one more thing you need to know." She turned to him, eyes wide. "That girl you saw me with in Hungary. She was my cousin." Her jaw dropped. "It was staged," he continued. "I knew you'd be there. I wanted you to feel what I felt. I didn't plan to forgive you. But then, I realized I still wake up reaching for your side of the bed. She began crying again. Harder. So this, she whispered. He nodded. This is the last chance. She held him tighter. They didn't leave that bed for the entire weekend. They talked. They cried. They laughed. They touched. Every hour, every moment. Sex became sacred again. Yes. Tense, yes. But also healing. They broke the bed that night. Literally. And then laughed about it naked on the floor. She never let him go again. Because losing him once was enough to destroy her forever. But this time she had earned him back. Not with her looks. But with truth.